Hello there, and welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft HardRock. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Obviously, this is not done. This is just a framework, which still needs to have all the steel applied to it. But I've been hard at work for many an hour, getting all the bits that we need ready to make the turbine ready to go. Now, if you look in the top corner there, you can see that we're on day 976. I'm kind of trying to race the clock here to get this turbine up and running before day 1000. That gives me a little under 10 hours. Considering I've already spent about 10 hours getting this far, I don't think it's going to happen. But we can definitely try. But before we jump into working on that, we can make some of these bits. So this is the electromagnetic coil. We need one of them for every 4 of the turbine blades. We have 2 turbine blades, so we only need 1 coil. So we got that. And then we need 1 rotary complex. And you only need 1 no matter how big of a turbine you're making. And since we only have 2 blades, we only need 1 turbine rotor. So that is that. Our turbine rotor, our rotary complex, our coil. So then we have this, the infused alloy, the steel casing, and 32 iron wire. What we need these for is making the turbine. Nope, not the vents. Here we go. The pressure disperser. Pressure disperser. So, andesite casing, 2 iron wire, steel casing, 2 more iron wire, infused alloy. So we've got some andesite casings right there, prepped up, ready to go. I tried prepping stuff. Go figure. And now we just need to wait for this to process through. And this is going to take a minute, so I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do it. But we're going to cycle through all of that. And I've got a bunch of steel being processed. If we go over here, we've got, let's see, that's 16. That's 20, not 24. Yeah, 24, 25, 26. We have enough to make 26 of the turbine casings, which is just the bottom layer plus 1. So we've still got a lot more to process through. But hey, we're getting there. So let me get back to this, and I'll bring it back in when we have a little more progress. And this will be our first turbine case blocks. There we go. I have a whole lot more to make. This is only enough to make the bottom layer, but we can start building the turbine. All right, let's start building the first layer of this turbine. So I do want it to be not too far from the fission reactor. I want to keep saying fusion. Let's see. Because we want the ports to line up. We want the steam to output from there and go straight into the turbine. That's the reactor. This is the turbine. So I did show this at the end of last video in the creative world. If I don't put the blocks down in the wrong spot, it's pretty easy to build. Then we do our rotor in the middle with both blades that we have on the rotor. And then we're going to put the complex on top of that, the electrolytic coil on top of that, and this is going to get all the dispersers. Right? Oh shoot, now I gotta go check the thing again. Yes. So, we're going to need more casings coming up the sides, and to ring around the top like what we did with the casings down here. Now, strictly speaking, all the faces, including the top, can be made out of the structural glass. But as I mentioned, the structural glass is quite expensive. It's 5, it says millibuckets, but that's 5 ingots of steel, 2.5 quartz crystals, and then 2.5 ingots of lead. Whereas the turbine casing is a stripped log, a copper ingot, 4 ingots of steel, and half a quartz crystal. So, I mean, this is just so much cheaper. I might do some of the glass just so we can see inside it. Sort of like how I did just a little bit of glass on this here. Although, it really doesn't help because it's such a small reactor. But there we go. That's the first steps. I gotta go finish working on all the casings. And we need to make some of these vents. I've got the iron bars ready. I just need to make the casings for it. We do want, I think we want 1 vent for every disperser we have. And then the condensators we don't need, but we can have. I'll have to see what the flow rate is without the condensators. If it's not very good, we might add the condensators and then recycle some of the water. Otherwise, I mean, we'll be burning off the water essentially, but if we have an infinite source of water, it's not really that big of a deal. Anyway, go and get back to work. Got a lot to do. And not much time. All right, let's make the valves. And yeah, we do need 2 valves. It says on the wiki that you do need 2 valves in the structure. I don't know if we need both valves for importing. It's been over a year since I did the mechanism reactors here, so I'm a little, I'd say, rusty. Let's see, that's enough to make 6 of the vents. So let's go add those to the structure. We want the vents at the top, along here, and we're going to do here. They have to be placed above the dispenser. Did it say? Let me double check again. Okay, they may be placed on any exterior face, just not the edges, like this. So we could technically fill 1 full side with the vents if we wanted to, or you could fill the whole thing. Wouldn't recommend it. And you need at least as many vents as you have dispersers. Otherwise, it won't be as efficient. Right now we got 6, so we need to do at least 1 more craft of the vents. Let's put the valves there. So yeah, that's we're getting there. I've got to go make up a whole bunch more of the copper casings now. So I got to go chop down a whole bunch more trees. And I'm like replanting every tree I chop down. And I got a whole bunch more of the infested leaves going. So I have more string in the very near future. But all these trees that you see in this area, they're all pretty small. They're like, yeah, 4 or 7 logs because they've all been chopped down recently. So I'm just having to go further and further out to get actual trees to use. And I've built every single drill their own little house. I did this before I turned off the Weather 2 mod because I didn't want to risk a tornado pulling up stuff, because I don't think they'd take the drill, or I know they haven't taken chests, but I have seen the shafts and the what are they called? The gears disappearing. And so I don't know if that's because of snow falling and breaking them, or if the tornadoes pick them up. So yeah, I built a structure for every single one of them, and now I don't really need it. But hey, at least it keeps everything like, well, the most important part right now is actually it keeps the water from freezing over, since in order for the water to freeze, it needs sky access. So it keeps the water from freezing, which means that the drills keep running. Well, I mean, when they're fueled, but you get the idea. The lead is melting so fast, it's not actually getting a chance to finish pouring. Oh, there we go. It finally stopped. That gives us 34. I miscounted. Oh well. We should now have pretty much everything I need to make the glass. The structural glass, as I mentioned before, wants 5 steel ingots, followed by 2.5 quartz crystals, and then 2.5 lead. I was debating this. I don't feel like making more of the casings, and I'm actually doing fairly good on steel at the moment. So we're going to make 13 of these structural glass. So let's see. We start with the steel. I don't think I have enough steel for all of it. Yes, I emptied it out. So we're going to be working on this for a moment, and then the turbine is done. Yeah, this is going to take a minute. But we're going to go to the structural glass, and I'll show you once that's ready what it looks like. And then I have to dive into making another electrolytic separator. At least 1 enrichment chamber. I'm going to have to look at my list. I have a list on another website. At least 1 rotary condensator. And we're going to need to make the isotropic centrifuge. So this still has a bit of work left to do. I need to make an atomic alloy, which requires enriched obsidian. The enriched obsidian is a refined obsidian ingot. You get that by enriching it with osmium, and you get the refined obsidian dust. Wait, I'm going in circles here. Here we go. You infuse the osmium powder with diamond to get refined obsidian dust. So we've got a little bit more to do before we can actually get the reactor running, but I will have the turbine done, I will have the reactor done, and I've got 11 days left in game. I might be able to get that reactor up and running before day 1000. We will see. And these are the last 4 blocks. Okay, they were supposed to be the last 4 blocks. What did I mess up? Oh, you know what I am willing to bet is the fact that there's snow on the inside. Okay, let's try that again. About to snow this time. There we go. So that's the industrial turbine. And there was a calculation for how much Fe it will produce. It can store 800 million Fe. Yeah, okay, 1 second. Energy production is flow times rotation height. The flow rate here is 250,000 millibuckets per tick. Height is 1, so 256,000 times 50 divided by 7. I cannot do that math off the top of my head. 256 times 1 is 256 times 50 is 12.8 million divided by 7. We're looking at 1.8 million Fe per tick. I don't know. That sounds high for such a small reactor. We will see once we actually get it set up. And as you can see there, we're on day 192. I've got 8 more days to get the rest of the stuff done. So I'm going to stop talking and get back to work. There we go. Day 1000. And no, we don't have the reactors hooked up. The bits that we're working on are a little more complicated, and I didn't figure I would actually have it done on time. What I also did wrong was the math I showed on screen a little while ago. If you click this here, turbine statistics, it will show you all your information, the volume, the flow rate, what affects it, what affects production. So here it's saying that the 2 blades are limiting it. If I had 5 blades, it would say coils are being limited. If I had 3 vents, it would say vents are limiting it. So all that goes to show that our max production is 73,000 Fe per tick. I believe that's per tick. I don't see why it wouldn't be. That's still a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely going to be enough to run. Oh, jetpack's out of fuel. It's definitely going to be enough to power everything to produce the fuel. And I'm going to run a power line underground to the base and then hook it up to our battery in the base. So we'll be getting power from that and from the generator, which we can use for, I'd say, quick power or just to get us a quick boost. Since the generator does produce, I actually don't know how much it produces per tick, but we're at 3.12. I mean, that's pretty fast. I don't know exactly how fast. It's pretty fast. Anyway, we've got a fair bit of the stuff started. Like I said, I've got a list of all the parts we need between the osmium compressor, the condensator, the oxidizers, the infusers, the dissolution chamber. I need to make over 100 ingots of red steel for all these chemical tanks. So yeah, I've got a lot ahead of me still. Oh, but something I've been using for the air compressor is these, the biomass pellets. They're made by making biomass and then compressing them. And you make the biomass by combining seed biomass with seed oil. You get enough seed oil per seed that this does not really reduce your seed oil, right? One seed might give you 60 to 80 millibuckets, and you need 6 seeds to get 6 biomass. So making this is pretty cheap. So you turn it to biomass, you compress it, you get the biomass pellet, you stick it in here, and it will literally produce 2.5 or so psi. Oh, I'm actually just short. I need 4.5, and I'm at 4.47. But yeah, so I've been using that instead of using charcoal, since I need all the coal and charcoal I can make to make the steel, which I need a lot of. They would probably work in a generator that's like a fuel generator. It's like the biogenerator, maybe? Maybe the biogenerator. Possibly the coal burning generator. I haven't tested, so I'm not sure. But it might work in those. If it does, then it's another source of power. If it doesn't, hey, at least it does do a good job at pressurizing the pressure chamber for me. Anyway, I gotta go get lava to refill my backpack, jetpack, so I can keep flying around working on everything in the base. Well, this is taking just a little bit longer than I anticipated. 10 hours. A little bit. But yeah, we're just about ready to get all the parts done to make the fuel. Before I show you that though, I did make one other thing quickly, and that is the mechanism gas burner. This produces a lot of power for a relatively little amount of ethylene here. Okay, so I filled this with about almost 8 millibuckets worth of ethylene. It's filled this accumulator twice, and obviously it's still got a third left of what I put in it. So yeah, it's actually quite efficient, and it's been powering everything for me, making my life much easier. And the recipe for that is the electrolytic coil, which is the same coil we need for the electrolytic separator, so we've seen that before. 2 steel casings, a bit of osmium, and 2 more infused alloy. So it's actually fairly cheap, and it does a very good job. So I have everything here with the exception of the 3 blocks I've already made. We've already made the metallurgic infuser, so I've made another one. We've already made the electrolytic separator, and we've already made the enrichment chamber, so I didn't worry about showing you those. So now we have the rest of these. First, we need to make these personal chests. If I shift And it says a 54 slot chest that can be opened from your own inventory. I want to check out one of these. So now you're an item. Okay, that's kind of cool. We need 2 of them. They count as heavy, so we cannot walk with them. And we need to combine those with a dynamic tank, a basic chemical tank, and infused alloys and basic circuits to make our chemical oxidizer. We need 2 of those. All right. Next, we make the chemical infuser. We need 3 of these, and these are 2 basic tanks, 4 infused alloy, 2 circuits, and a steel casing. And if you hadn't noticed, like, you can't stack these chemical tanks, so I had to line them up behind where I was crafting in order to have them ready to go. So there we go. So those are the 3 chemical infusers and 2 oxidizers that we're going to need. Next, rotary condensator. We've already made this before, so don't know why I didn't just craft it, but there we go. Osmium compressor. We actually need this immediately. It takes 2 of the advanced circuits, which take the basic circuit plus a infused alloy. So not too bad. Steel casing, 2 buckets, and then 4 more infused alloy. So we gotta take this, and we're gonna go up there in a moment, because we cannot finish the isotropic centrifuge or the chemical dissolution chamber without it. We need the osmium compressor in order to make the refined obsidian ingots. So let's fly up here quickly. Going to just pop that right there so it has power. And we have some powdered obsidian. It's the same powdered obsidian we get by pushing it through the crushing wheels. So crush it wheels, then it goes up here. We then need to grab a enriched diamond, and we're going to enrich the powdered obsidian with a diamond to turn into refined obsidian dust. There we go. Then we take this refined obsidian dust, put it into the osmium compressor with an osmium ingot to turn into the refined obsidian ingot. We need to do that 4 times. If you notice, every time it finishes a craft, it reduces the amount of diamond dust in here by 10 millibuckets. The one refined diamond, the one enriched diamond adds 80 millibuckets, whereas if I just put a single diamond in, it'll only add 10 millibuckets. So we go here, toss that there, toss those there. I assume we need 1 full ingot per ingot. We'll find out in a moment. Ooh. We might need an extra. I've got plenty of extra. Just toss that in there just in case. Yeah, it did take a bit extra. Alright, so now we have our refined obsidian ingots. We have some refined obsidian dust. We need to take this refined obsidian dust and turn it into enriched obsidian. We get the enriched obsidian by enriching the refined obsidian dust. So we go back to the enrichment chamber here, toss that in, and let it run. And there we go. And now we go back down here. We can put our obsidian ingots on the corners there. And then with this enriched obsidian and the stuff that's in here, we can finish making the ultimate control circuits. So first we need to make the atomic alloy, which we haven't made yet. This is 1 refined alloy, one reinforced alloy, 1 enriched obsidian, and 1 enriched carbon. So that's what we have right there. Once that's done and makes the atomic alloy, we then combine that with an elite circuit, an enriched diamond, some magenta dye, and the alloy, and that gives us this ultimate circuit, which will complete those crafts. And I think the chunk I'm standing in is officially polluted because I have mining fatigue permanently. So I'm going to have to go and do something about cleaning up that pollution up there. Because if I go over here... Nope. There we go. Now I'm definitely in a different chunk and the mining fatigue has gone away. So I think this chunk is officially polluted. And that would actually make sense as to why the grass keeps turning into podzol. I think that's a sign that it's polluted as it turns into podzol. I need to feed this and then we will finish our craft. And that's our 4 ultimate circuits. So now we can run over here. One there and one there. And that's our isotropic centrifuge. Or centrifuge, as some might say. And those 2 to make our chemical dissolution chamber. So now we have all the components we need to build the fuel production line. I haven't decided where I'm going to put that. Should probably make a bit more concrete to expand this out. But we're going to want... Let's see if we can actually set this up. We definitely want this one here to be last in line, because this is what makes the fissile fuel, which then goes into the fusion reactor. So to make the fissile fuel, we need the uranium hexafluoride, which we do in a chemical infuser. So let's find a mag... That's not it. That's a chemical infuser. So we can put that one right there. And that gets uranium oxide and hydrofluoric acid. The uranium oxide we get from a chemical oxidizer. Right there. Yellow cake uranium, which we get from an enrichment chamber of uranium. So I can do the enriching elsewhere and bring it over here. Okay, I'm actually going to sleep through the night for like the first time in about 3 months in game. Nice little sunrise. Hydrofluoric acid we get from a chemical dissolution chamber of sulfuric acid and fluoride. So chemical dissolution chamber, that's this one here, can attach right there. Sulfuric acid we get in a chemical infuser of water vapor and sulfur tetraoxide. So chemical infuser right there, we can put that there. And then we need sulfur trioxide, which we get in a chemical infuser from oxygen and sulfur dioxide. So chemical infuser can go right there. And this one also got water vapor, which we get from the rotary condensator, which can go right there. All right, so we need oxygen, which we would get from the electrolytic separator. That thing. Right there. And sulfur dioxide, which we get from a chemical oxidizer. Right there. And that's our metallurgical infuser and our enrichment chambers, which we can have set up for making the... I'm not sure. The yellow cake uranium and... Yeah, the yellow cake uranium and something else. Anyway, So that is a very compact setup. You provide the electrolytic separator with water, provide the chemical oxidizer with the sulfur. Yeah, you put sulfur in here, it becomes sulfur dioxide. You put water in here, and yeah, the whole system will run through, producing the fissile fuel, which will pump out of here and into the fusion reactor. And that's how you provide it with fuel. We will do this next episode. Actually have everything properly set up and producing fuel. But at least you can see how the chain works. But I'm going to call it an end here for today. Thank you for joining me today. We've made a lot of progress. And it's taken a very long time. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you've had a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. Later.